everybody, Ace Taku here, and guess what? There's so much news on Temtem. My gosh, there is a huge roadmap. I mean, it's pretty huge, I think. I mean, it's not anything like Star Citizen, but nonetheless, it's a pretty nice size roadmap for what's to come for the game. So I want to just go over with that. I mean, it's a lot to go over, and maybe people don't have time to read it, so maybe they have time to listen to it at least. I'm gonna try and make this short as possible. So let's go ahead and get to the first thing on the roadmap here. All right, so we're gonna go over the short-term roadmap. There's a short-term roadmap, and then there's a mid-term roadmap, and then there's also, I don't even know. I guess I'm not sure exactly what's the last image they have here for the roadmap. I mean, I guess it's just both of them kind of combined, basically. I mean, that's what it looks like from here. So, yeah. So, anyway, there's pretty much just looks like there's two main roadmaps and a lot of information between the short-term roadmap and the mid-term roadmap. So we'll just go ahead and start with the short-term, and we'll get to the mid-term. Maybe another video. I might do a separate one. I'm not too sure. I'm still thinking about it. So if I don't do the mid-term roadmap in this video, then it'll be in another one. So look out for that, perhaps. We'll see. Oh, and also one more thing I forgot. Just take this roadmap, just with a little grain of salt. They said that not everything on this roadmap may be 100% confirmed. Ideas may change, things may develop out differently. And so if you ever played Star Citizen, you would already kind of get the gist of everything not being so, I guess, 100% certain and guaranteed. At least it's just kind of more of like a guideline, really. But things may change, and things may get swapped around perhaps during development. So reading it and we're just seeing, like, okay, what they have planned, and see if anything they stick with, or if they're going to change it up a little bit. We'll see as time goes on. But yeah, don't be 100% like expect this, maybe one feature or this feature. It may not happen, or it may change. It may get moved around in the roadmap. We don't know. So again, grain of salt. Don't it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone. Okay. Anywho, let's get on to the first thing here in the short-term roadmap. All right, so first thing up here is the ranked matchmaking. So first kind of bullet point here is balance. And so it says, while we plan to balance patches frequently during early access, our plan is not to be obsessed about reaching a perfect balance until Temtem roster is complete. So this is when the final release of the game, I'm guessing, because right now not all the Temtem are in the game. So due to having only a limited set of Tems and techniques, it is impossible to balance everything perfectly. So we will most likely balance an extra overpowered stuff that can break the current meta. Even with the not so perfect balance, we've seen several team compositions and strategies already, so don't be afraid to try out new things and step into the Temtem's competitive scene. So that's pretty understandable. I mean, pretty much they're gonna wait until all the Temtems are fully out, until the game is fully out, to actually start balancing Temtem and whatnot. There's not that many Temtems, and there's not that many techniques, so there is gonna be a bit of kind of maybe like some overpowered craziness. I haven't played the competitive scene for Temtem. I haven't actually fought anybody competitively, so I'm not too sure what the competitive scene is like. But do expect some kind of maybe unbalancing there, perhaps, and they'll get around to it eventually. Yeah, just try your best to counter whatever's in the current meta, until as time goes on and they perhaps fix it. They fix the whole meta of everything. So that's gonna take some time. That's definitely more towards, like they said, the full release of the game, most likely. I mean, they say that it's a short-term thing, so I don't know. They say it's a short-term thing, but I honestly see that more as a what was the other thing? The mid-term roadmap kind of thing. I really, it's interesting that they put that there in the short term. So yeah, that's kind of interesting for them to put in the short term. I would think that would be in the long term, or maybe it's just for this. Maybe it's in the short term because it's planned to be balanced out pretty much in this year before the full release of the game, which I'm assuming is the full release is going to be when the game is on every platform, every gaming platform you could think of. Probably not mobile devices, though. I don't think they mentioned anything about mobile devices, but things like PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. So I'm assuming that the balancing would be for maybe towards the end of this year, so then that way it's more prepared for next year, and then it will have a much balanced game, and they can fix the meta or whatever. Oh, and also forgot to mention, they will most likely balance very overpowered, very broken Temtem and techniques that can break the current meta. So we have that as well. So they're gonna fix things if it's just like extremely out there, like we got freaking Temtems like being One Punch Man and just knocking things out left and right, in one hit maybe, and it's just like unfair and it's hard to maybe take it down with your team or something like that. So they are going to definitely balance things that are just extra overpowered. So they may not balance everything, they may not get to everything, but they are going to most likely balance extra overpowered, broken, OP Saitama One Punch Man booty things that are in the game that can break the meta when it comes to competitive. So there's that as well. I forgot to mention that. On to the next one. All right, so matchmaking version 1. The first iteration of matchmaking will include all player rating system based on a ELO. I don't know what that is, but they kind of dub it down for us here. AKA, it's a TMR, Tamer Matchmaking Rating. Players will start with some placement matches, which will define their initial TMR, and after that, they will be matched with each other based on their current TMR. For this first iteration of the matchmaking, we plan to give Pansun rewards for each victory as a reward for the time spent battling, based on the opponent's TMR. Although, probably this feature will be disabled when the feature launches until the system is fully tested and stabilized. All right, so hey, that is matchmaking. It sounds really nice, sounds really well thought out, sounds just really cool. It's nice to have rewards as well, online, instead of just having wins, it's like just having wins, just facing people online, not really receiving anything from it. It is nice, but they said they plan on disabling the feature. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure if they're talking. I think they're talking about the rewards, the Pansun award. So you get more currency to buy stuff. That's a bit interesting because right now, far as I know, I don't think anything has changed. I haven't played the game in a while, by the way, just to let everybody know. So I'm not sure if there's anything that's changed or has been added currently to where you can earn more Pansun currency. Far as I know, you can only receive it just by defeating trainers and etc. Just pretty much defeating other NPC trainers for the most part. So hopefully they put more of a gameplay loop on Pansun. More gameplay stuff so we can obtain it. I think it being in the matchmaking or competitive or whatever, I think that would be really, really cool, because that way at least you can make some kind of currency, at least that way, because who knows what they'll put in here, like gameplay loop wise. Maybe they'll put something in the game that may take a little longer, to be a grind. I think there should be kind of like options, just have options, like you have a fast way to maybe get Pansun, but it's not like maybe a whole lot of it, it's just a good amount of it just to get your just typical healing items, just to get maybe a few healing items or something like that. And then you have a long way of getting Pansun, which gets you a lot, but it lots of Pansun, but it just takes a really long time. You have to dedicate your a lot amount of time to it, or something like that. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I'm just just going over what I just read pretty much for the most part. It's cool, it's fine. Let's just move on to the next one. Temtem auto scaling. This is probably one of the hottest topics in the community. We know it's very important for competitive players to jump into the competitive scene as quickly as possible and reduce the time and friction needed to tweak and test new stuff. So our idea to solve that is introduce an auto scaling into the ranked queue. Auto scaling will initially perfect your Tems, upping all their SV up to 50 for battle and their level to current level cap, which is currently level 48. With auto scaling, players will need to capture and organize their teams, set their preferred TV spread using fruits or training, obtain the necessary gears, completing the main or side quests in the game, and breeding for their desired egg techniques. But players won't need to grind perfect SVs or spend a fortune breeding to research that point. This auto scaling will only apply to ranked matchmaking queue, so there will be no other game modes where having a perfect Tem and breeding for them will be necessary. In-game tournaments, player organized tournaments, battle dojo, club wars, in-game PvE content, etc. So honestly, that is actually really cool. That actually makes getting into the competitive scene even a lot more easier, because you don't have to essentially breed for hours and hours and and try and get that perfect Tem that you want and that you're looking for. Everything will be auto scaled up, and into the in the highest level that you can get is level 48. So all that will be all auto scaled up, and that way you can essentially have a perfect team for competitive without having to put a crazy amount of effort. But I mean, if you still want to do it, it's totally fine. I mean, you can still do it because it's still going to be helpful in other game modes. So it's only going to be for the competitive or the ranked matchmaking queue. So other game modes won't have that feature. So the other game modes that were listed there, like the tournaments and player organized tournaments and club wars and other PvE content, that stuff you're still gonna have to work to get those perfect Tems for those kinds of game modes. So there's still a lot of work that you can put in, but at least for the ranked matchmaking queue, you won't have to at least do that. Everything's going to be auto scaled for you, and you'll be able to get into competitive way more easier for sure. So it's actually a great feature. I'm looking forward to that. All right, on to spectator mode version 1. Having a spectator mode has been one of the most requested features so far, and while we already had it in our eternal roadmap scheduled for later, we decided to push it to the front due to the number of players requesting it. This first iteration of spectator mode will be a basic one, and we will iterate on it in the future, adding more options. While spectating, only the common info will be displayed: HP and STA percentages, team composition after the ban and pick stages, and status conditions, techniques, etc. So players won't be able to use this feature to get leverage over their opponents. We hope including this feature will also help tournament organizers solve some of the issues they're currently facing. Alright, so simple enough. Spectator mode, I mean, simply, you're spectating, the players that are, fighting competitively. It's pretty cool. It's very great that they have something like this, and I'm glad they are going to implement it, and maybe they'll add even more, maybe stuff that we never even thought of, like to have in a spectator mode. But so far the features are really good for spectator mode. So well, let's just move on to the next one. All right, so we're gonna go talk about the in-game chat, which is not in the game anymore. I'm not sure why, so I want to read this and find out. The chat implementation we had during the alpha/stress test phase was temporary one, and it was lacking a lot of features, so we decided to disable it entirely for the early access release. Our plan is to remake the chat from scratch, increasing the performance and capabilities. The chat will feature several predefined chat groups, e.g. global, local, trade, club, and it will also support private messaging between users, Whisper. So we will give players the choice between 2 different levels of chat bubbles, displaying the full text or just a notification to know they've talked, or disable them entirely. Alright, so that's the reason why chat isn't in-game. I always thought, like, where was in-game chat? Like, it was there in the stress test phase, because I did play the stress test a little bit, And so it was there, and I was like, okay, cool, fine. We have a chat, people can talk, and tell them like what you want to trade and all that. But apparently they are going to basically remake the chat again from scratch. They're gonna redo the whole thing, go over it again, add in some more cool features like text bubbles and stuff like that. Also giving us the option to pick different chat bubble options or disable them entirely. I mean, options is always a beautiful thing, and I love that this game just constantly gives us options. If anything, this game just has so many options. It's really just fantastic. It really is. So that's where the in-game chat has been. It's been basically being reworked. It's from scratch, from the bottom, it's like we're starting from the bottom, and now the chat ain't there. Okay, gosh darn it, rip my life. Anywho, so yeah, that's where the chat has been, or not been, I should say. So that's where the chat is. If you're looking, if you did see the chat in like during the stress test or alpha, I've been wondering like, where the heck has it been? Why did they get rid of it? Like, what's going on? So yeah, they're remaking it, they're working on it, and putting in some more features in it as well. So can't wait for the chat system to come back. That is going to be huge when that gets into the game, because we'll be able to communicate with people, tell them like, hey, I want to trade for this, I want to trade for that, instead of using, the third-party stuff like, Discord and whatnot. Although Discord's fine as well, but it's nice to have something integrated in-game as well. It doesn't hurt to have that either. So yeah. Club management. Oh, I'm interested in reading this one. Let's just read it. Clubs are take. Clubs are oh my lord. Clubs are take. Clubs are wait. Wait a minute. R and R. Oh, the confusion. My brain. Help. Goodness gracious. God damn it. All right. Clubs is our take on clans for Temtems. Goodness gracious, I had to ad-lib that in there. Clubs have basically two main features related to them. The first one is to be able to create a club, assign a banner to it, name it, invite all your friends to join. This will be the first part of the club's feature that we will tackle. The second part is the Dojo Wars, which we'll talk more about it in the next part of the roadmap. So that's probably most likely going to be in the long-term part of the roadmap. So again, we will most likely get to that, in another video. Housing. Oh, I want to know more about housing, baby. Every Temtem player will be able to acquire a house since they won't be limited in quantity. We're designing a toll row. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't know how you really say that. I think it's a toll row. I don't know, but let's just continue. The physical location where all houses will be built. So they're designing it to be infinite, so you don't need to worry about buying permits or land. Technology in the archipelago is amazing. There's one thing that you need to worry about though, decorating your house. You will be able to decorate your house using furniture bought and earned in-game. And every furniture store in the archipelago will open their doors and will showcase different furniture in each island. You will be able to decorate your house using furniture bought and earned in-game, and every furniture store in the archipelago will open their doors and will showcase different furniture in each island. And apparently they're saying that it's supposed to be similar to the clothing options that they have in-game there. You will also be able to invite other players over so you can gather around your dining table or join other players' houses and check out how they're decorating them. While houses will keep a predominant decorative functionality, we will have some ideas to include useful furniture too in the future. So think of like, incubators, jukeboxes, and a fruit tree. So that's really cool. I think this is very interesting to have housing in an MMO like this, because it's not like Black Desert Online, but it's still relatively cool that you can be able to have your basically like kind of like a hidden base thing in Pokemon a little bit, but maybe it's not so much like a hidden base, but it's more like a gathering area basically for the most part. It's cool if they're going to be adding in features like an incubator and a jukebox and a fruit tree. Not sure what the jukebox in the fruit tree does exactly, because maybe I'm not that far ahead in the game. Maybe that's in the game already. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played the game in a while. Don't murder me. I haven't played the game in a while, so I'm not sure. And I'm not that far in the game either, so I'm not sure what those two things do. I mean, I can take a guess at what the incubator does. I mean, it probably helps you breed an egg, of course. That'd be cool. I think if you can do some, cool breeding in your home, every now and then or whatever, how that works, and maybe it's free, maybe you don't have to spend money for it, because I do know is that you have to spend money for the breeding in the game when you go to the daycare place or whatever. So I do know that. So maybe the incubator is like a cool way to breed for, or maybe hatch an egg faster or something like that for free, if you just don't have the money to at the time, pay for the daycare or whatever. We'll see. But that'd be cool if they, add in more stuff that we can, possibly use, for in-game. Although I'm sure like I said, they're probably not going to do it all that much. There'll probably be a few items, but still, having something where we can maybe breed a little bit more easier and maybe more convenient, that'd be really nice. All right, so let's get on to the last thing we have here for the short-term roadmap. All right, so here's the last thing for the short-term roadmap. It is achievements. We all love achievements, whether they are something simple like completing the Tempedia or something more obscure like defeating an Yukama with the head charge achievement booty thing. Achievements are now part of most games, and Temtem will not be less. Temtem will feature a full array of achievements that will reward players with the most precious currency of them all. Bragging rights, baby. That's right. We like to brag. We like to brag about all of our achievements. You got a platinum? No? Okay, go away. Oh my goodness. Although some of them will also potentially give in-game rewards. I think achievements are going to be really cool because I know some people are, kind of like, oh no, like Switch doesn't have achievements, it kind of sucks. But, I forgot that you can do in-game achievements, which I'm shocked. A lot of Switch games hasn't done that since there isn't an achievement system, in their game. Only game I can really think of that has an achievement system is like Smash Bros. I guess it's kind of an achievement system. Well, yeah, I guess it is. You can kind of cheat it a little bit if you have the hammer. You can break some of those achievements if they're like too difficult. So yeah, that's like the only game I can think of that has achievements in game. So this is really cool that they're going to be adding this and have it supported for every platform they can think of. This is really great. For short term, overall, this is some really good features to have. Yeah, it's not going to be like the midterm, because midterm's probably going to have more stuff with like consoles, maybe like more stuff with consoles and whatnot. I haven't actually really looked at it all that well. I'm sure that the midterm roadmap is going to have huge features, but for a short term, these features are really good, and I hope they can reach all these features. I really do. I understand that things get, changed around, plans change, development, has, will, evolve and change maybe over time, and things may not be the same the way that they first set them out to be. I get that, so, if you're getting this game early, and you like the game the way it is, it's not going to be always set in stone what some of the features are going to, what the features are going to be in this game. So you have to kind of be open to the changes that this game will go through. So do keep that in mind. For people that are waiting for this on console, you guys are going to get the final, basically the final release of the game. So whatever you guys get, that's what the game is going to be. And most likely once the game is fully released, they're going to just make probably minor tweaks and balances and stuff like that. But if you want to experience the game, early in its early stages, you definitely got to pick it up on PC for sure. It's going to be, it's going to be a while, about a year, which actually it is very impressive that they're going to try and get this thing out, I believe, to every platform within a year. So it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really nice to have this game fully released and on console. Like, I can't wait to get this on the Switch. I'm crossing my fingers that, there is cross-platform, because that would be amazing. That'd be absolutely incredible, and that'd be a great direction for this game. So yeah, that's it. That's for the short-term roadmap. All right, so I'm going to call the video. That is it. I am going to probably eventually sometime next year get to maybe talking about the midterm roadmap. I don't know. I'm not too sure. This took actually quite a while to put together, which was shocking for me because, man, I remember I used to get these videos out so fast, but now, what has happened to me? Anywho, enough of my video midlife crisis. I'm out of here. Take care. Thanks for watching the video.